When the Arizona Main Street program came to Flagstaff in 1988, half of downtown was boarded up. Sidewalks were in bad repair, no inviting lights or benches encouraged people to shop or sit a spell or to come out at night. Potential merchants and business owners viewed downtown as a losing venture. Without exciting places to shop, do business, or to simply enjoy a cup of coffee, the heart of the city had become ill and underused. The partnership between downtown property owners, the City of Flagstaff, and the Mainstream Flagstaff Foundation drastically changed all that. The Mainstream Flagstaff Foundation catalyzed all phases of an $8 million streetscape enhancement program in conjunction with the City of Flagstaff in a public-private partnership that over a 10-year period has resulted in an inviting, charming, and economically vital downtown that we proudly call Historic Downtown Flagstaff. The growth process continues. Flagstaff's award-winning Main Street program, one of 24 in Arizona under the auspices of the National Historic Trust, is still an active and integral part of historic preservation, growth management, and promotion of historic downtown Flagstaff. This short presentation illustrates the changes that many downtown buildings have undergone to restore the history and charm of our city while building an economically healthy base for business. In the city of Flagstaff, what used to be Front Street and later Santa Fe Avenue is now once again Route 66. This view is one of the busiest and most visible downtown intersections, the corner of San Francisco Street and Route 66. On the right is Joe's Place, a favorite local bar and the oldest building in Flagstaff. On the left is the Vale Building, which housed the oldest saloon in Flagstaff and currently is home to the Sweet Life and Crystal Magic. The original wood building burned down in the 1880s and was replaced by brick. Like many others you will see throughout the presentation, the brick was then covered in the 1930s through the 50s with stucco, a trendy and popular material at the time. The Main Street program supported the Vale Building restoration effort through grant money and design assistance. The facade was brought back to the 1939 Art Deco look, and with fresh paint and a unique design, the building is one of the most noticeable along Route 66. This building is owned by the Herman family, one of the largest property holders in historic downtown Flagstaff. This founding family has owned property in the downtown since the early days and has been a committed partner in historic renovations of their buildings. This facade has been restored to its original brick, and now there is a very successful business in it, the Kitchen Source.
The facade renovations are part of making the area unique. I mean, as a local person, a lot of my history, many of our histories, a lot of the history of the community is tied up downtown. And we're trying to make something that's genuinely part of the community, genuinely historic, and genuinely interesting.
In the 1800s, the Babbitt family built this trading post and dry goods store out of local Moenkopi sandstone and topped the structure with a beautifully detailed metal cornice. Stucco replaced brick in the 1950s and completely changed the architectural character of this once dignified building. Jim Babbitt removed the stucco in the late 1980s and restored the building's facade. Meticulous attention to detail, such as having the cornice rebuilt by the original maker, made the building an excellent example of the importance of historic preservation and its effect on the character of a place. The first telephone exchange in the city of Flagstaff was on LaRue Street. It was also stuccoed over in the 50s and remained that way for over 40 years. Owners Sam Green and Henry Taylor, with the assistance of the Main Street program, rebuilt the entrance and facade to original specifications and named the new cafe the Exchange Pub, now one of the most popular cafe pubs in town. The Pollock Building is a good example of how a lot of damage was done to the facades in the 1950s. This view shows the transom windows covered over with a mishmash of styles. On the left, the Sweet Nothings facade was restored and now houses the Mountain Oasis Natural Foods restaurant.
When we were given the chance to rent this space, I went to Main Street and told them what I wanted to do with the space, and we had pictures of the front of the building, what it looked like originally in the turn of the century. This building was built in 1899 and has gone through a couple of facade changes, and something majorly was done in the 60s, aluminum, concrete, you know, kind of a 60s thing. And I went to the local Main Street office, and they were very supportive.
If you look further along the same building, you can see the storefront of the downtown diner, where a metal awning was added, and the copper trim and leaded glass were painted over. Now the copper and glass have been exposed. The original leaded glass was beyond repair, but with new glass and neon accents added, the facade has a striking new character. Grants and design assistance from Main Street helped restore these facades. The record store Dab Nabbits on North San Francisco Street also had its transom boarded up, facade stuccoed over, and was generally dilapidated for many years. This was one effort that could not bring the facade back to its original condition, but the stucco has been rehabilitated, painted, and restored. With careful choice of color and elements of the original architecture exposed, the change is impressive to the eye and to the downtown patrons strolling by.
I was a member of Main Street actually before I went into this building. The landlord, the building owner, is also a member of Main Street. We went together and applied for a facade grant through the Main Street Foundation, and we're very happy to receive that grant to redo the front facade, the outside of the building. And without that, I mean, they really pushed us over the edge financially as being able to do that. It was really fabulous.
Over 40 projects have been completed with the assistance of the Flagstaff Main Street program. Consistently, 2 to 5 restoration and/or renovation projects each year are in progress. As the historic downtown property and business owners recognize the value of restoration in terms of economic growth and community pride, more decide to make their business investment downtown. Consequently, downtown is expanding onto streets that were once considered a quick death for new businesses. An example of this expansion is the Mogollon Brewery. What was once a boarded-up church and covered facade is now one of the 3 popular microbreweries in historical downtown. A creative and whimsical treatment of both the interior and the exterior has given the once dark and quiet street a festive and welcoming atmosphere. The brewery has been a successful enterprise from the day the doors opened to the public. This building is an example of Spanish Revival architecture from the early part of the century. For many years, a furniture store was housed in the building. Now, popular bars and restaurants attract many patrons throughout the day and well into the night. The Babbitt Garage was left vacant, bricks painted, and boarded over for decades, creating a large gap in the pedestrian thoroughfare. Now it is one of the best restored and prettiest buildings in the downtown. This is one of the first restoration projects begun in the downtown. Main Street teamed up with Northern Arizona home builders and some local contractors to remove the tombstone treatment and to replace the aluminum. First, a facade rendering is done by the Main Street architect. This drawing shows how the transom windows could be reopened and the aluminum and the wood facade could be restored. Then, with the approval of all involved, the project gets underway. Historic renovation and restoration have had a significant impact on the ambiance of downtown. With the partnership of business and property owners, the City of Flagstaff, and the Main Street Flagstaff Foundation, an area once in a downward spiral of decay is now a source of civic pride.
To me, the downtown Flagstaff area is the heart of Flagstaff. Without it, there's no pulse, no beating. It really represents what Flagstaff is and the flavor and the treasures that everyone found and the reason that people wanted to move here to begin with.